Waitress uses Billionaire's phone to defuse a bomb, then he learns she's a cybersecurity expert who. The coffee cup trembled in Rachel's hand as the stranger's phone buzzed with an urgent message she wasn't supposed to see. At 35, she'd served thousands of customers at Murphy's Diner, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The well-dressed man in the corner booth had stepped outside for a call, leaving his phone face up on the worn Formica table. What she glimpsed on that screen made her blood run cold. Coordinates, a timer counting down, and words that sent chills down her spine. Rachel had been refilling his coffee when the notification popped up. Her fingers, steady from years of balancing plates and pouring coffee, now shook as she read the message again. 23 minutes. That's all they had. The man outside was pacing, gesturing wildly into his own phone, completely unaware that his device held the key to preventing something terrible. She'd spent her life in this small Ohio town, but her past held secrets that might just save everyone tonight. Where are you watching from? Thomas Mitchell had never expected to find himself in a roadside diner at 11 p.m., but his Tesla's battery had died just outside Millfield. The billionaire tech entrepreneur was used to five-star restaurants and private jets, not checkered floors and handwritten menus. Yet something about this place felt oddly comforting. Maybe it was the gentle way the waitress had offered him the best booth without making him feel out of place. Rachel watched him through the kitchen window as she prepared his order. She'd recognized him immediately. His face had been on magazine covers for years. Thomas Mitchell, the man who'd revolutionized online security systems and built an empire worth billions. But tonight, he looked tired, almost vulnerable, drumming his fingers nervously on the table while checking his phone constantly. Rough night? Rachel had asked when she brought his coffee, noting the tension in his shoulders. You could say that, Thomas replied, managing a weak smile. Sometimes being connected to everything feels like a curse. Rachel understood that feeling more than he knew. She'd once lived in a world of constant connectivity, where every second mattered and one wrong move could cost everything. But that was before she'd walked away from it all, trading her corner office in Silicon Valley for this quiet diner where the biggest emergency was usually someone wanting their eggs over easy instead of scrambled. The diner was nearly empty except for old Pete reading his newspaper and the teenage couple sharing a milkshake in the far corner. Rachel had always loved the peaceful rhythm of late-night shifts, the gentle hum of the coffee maker, the soft jazz playing from the radio, the way the fluorescent lights cast everything in a warm, golden glow. But when Thomas stepped outside to take that urgent call, leaving his phone behind, everything changed. The message that appeared on his screen wasn't meant for her eyes, but she couldn't unsee it now. A location she recognized, the new community center where tomorrow's town festival was being set up. A timer counting down. And coordinates that made her heart race with a familiar dread she thought she'd left behind forever. The door chimed as Thomas paced outside, his voice rising with obvious frustration. Rachel stared at the phone, knowing she had to make a choice that would change everything. Rachel's hands moved with practiced precision as she unlocked Thomas's phone. Years of cybersecurity training had taught her to recognize patterns, and what she saw made her stomach drop. This wasn't just any threat, it was sophisticated, personal, and designed to cause maximum damage during tomorrow's annual harvest festival when hundreds of families would gather at the community center. The timer showed 18 minutes. Through the window, she could see Thomas arguing with someone, his free hand running through his graying hair in frustration. He had no idea what was happening on his own device. Rachel's mind raced back to her days at Cyber Defense Solutions, where she'd specialized in bomb disposal through digital intervention. She'd saved lives before, but that was with a full team and unlimited resources. Tonight, she had only her experience and whatever she could access through Thomas's phone. Ma'am, could I get some more coffee? Pete called from his usual booth, completely unaware that his peaceful evening was hanging by a thread. Of course, honey, Rachel replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. She grabbed the coffee pot with one hand while her other fingers flew across the phone screen. The device was incredibly advanced, military-grade encryption that would normally take hours to crack. But whoever had sent this message had made one crucial mistake. They'd used a backdoor protocol she recognized from her old company. Old Pete smiled as she refilled his cup. You're looking a bit pale, dear. Everything all right? Rachel forced a smile. Just tired from the long shift. She couldn't tell him that in 15 minutes, his favorite newspaper spot might be a memory if she couldn't stop what was coming. The bomb's location was definitely the community center. The same place where Pete's granddaughter would be helping set up decorations in the morning, where the Johnson family would sell their famous apple pies, where children would play games and couples would dance under string lights. This wasn't just about stopping an explosion, it was about protecting the heart of their small community. Rachel glanced at Thomas through the window. His conversation seemed to be getting more heated. She realized with growing dread that he might be the target, not just an innocent bystander. Someone was using his own technology against him, and they'd chosen this quiet town as their battlefield. If this moment touched your heart, please give the video a thumbs up. 13 minutes remained, and Rachel hadn't even begun to trace the real source of the threat. The code was more complex than anything Rachel had encountered in her 5 years away from the cybersecurity world. Her fingers, once quick and confident on keyboards, now felt clumsy after years of handling coffee cups and order pads. But muscle memory kicked in as she dove deeper into the phone's security systems, following digital breadcrumbs that led her down a rabbit hole of encrypted messages and hidden protocols. 9 minutes. Through the diner's large windows, she watched Thomas end his call and start walking back toward the entrance. Her heart pounded as she realized she'd have to tell him everything, about the threat, about her past, about why a small-town waitress knew how to navigate military-grade cybersecurity systems. The weight of her old life pressed down on her shoulders, bringing back memories of sleepless nights, impossible deadlines, and the panic attacks that had finally driven her away from it all. "Why did I ever think I could escape this?" she whispered to herself, her hands trembling as she accessed another layer of the bomb's control system. The door chimed as Thomas walked back in, his face drawn with worry. "I'm sorry about that," he said, sliding back into the booth. "Work never seems to end, even when you're stranded in the middle of nowhere." Rachel looked up at him, this powerful man who had no idea his life was in danger, and felt her heart break a little. He reminded her of her old boss, brilliant, driven, but carrying the weight of too many responsibilities. She'd seen what that pressure could do to people. "Thomas," she said quietly, using his first name for the first time, "I need you to listen to me very carefully." He blinked in surprise. "How do you know my name?" "That's not important right now." Rachel turned his phone toward him, showing the countdown timer. "Someone's trying to kill you, and they're going to hurt a lot of innocent people in the process." Thomas stared at the screen, his face going pale. "That's impossible. This phone is encrypted with technology that doesn't even exist yet." "I know," Rachel said gently. "I helped design the security system your company uses." The coffee cup slipped from Thomas's hand, shattering against the floor. "You're Rachel Chen," he breathed. "The cybersecurity expert who disappeared 5 years ago. We've been looking for you. Have you ever faced something like this? Let us know in the comments." 6 minutes remained, and now everything had changed. The Rachel Chen who saved the Pentagon from that cyber attack? Thomas's voice was filled with awe and disbelief. "You've been here all along, serving coffee?" Rachel nodded, her fingers already working to bypass the bomb's final security protocols. "I walked away because I couldn't handle the pressure anymore. Every day was about preventing disasters, about being responsible for other people's lives. I thought I could find peace here. But you're the only person who could stop this," Thomas said, leaning forward as he watched her work. "The encryption signature. I recognize it now. It's Jeremy Walsh, my former business partner. He's been trying to destroy my company since I fired him for stealing government contracts." 3 minutes. Rachel's mind cleared as she fell back into her old rhythm. This was what she'd been trained for, not just the technical aspects, but the calm under pressure, the ability to see solutions when everyone else saw only chaos. Her fingers danced across the screen, finding pathways through code that Jeremy Walsh thought no one else could navigate. "He chose this town because he knew you'd be stranded here," she realized aloud. "The Tesla charging station. He probably hacked it to strand you." But he didn't know I was here. Thomas watched in amazement as Rachel dismantled layers of digital security with the ease of someone who'd written the original programs. "Why did you really leave?" he asked quietly. "Because I lost sight of why I was doing it," Rachel admitted, her voice soft but steady. "I became so focused on the technology that I forgot about the people. Here, I remember. Every cup of coffee matters to someone. Every smile, every 'how was your day?' It all matters." 2 minutes. The bomb's central processor finally yielded to her expertise. Rachel found the core command sequence and began the careful process of disarming it remotely. One wrong keystroke could trigger an immediate detonation, but her hands were steady now, guided by years of experience and the knowledge that Pete, the young couple, and hundreds of festival-goers were counting on her. "There," she breathed as the timer stopped at 47 seconds. "It's done." Thomas stared at the screen showing "disarmed" in green letters. "You just saved my life. You saved everyone." Rachel smiled, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders that she'd carried for 5 years. "No," she said gently. "We all saved each other." If you've been enjoying this story, subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. But their night wasn't over yet. Jeremy Walsh was still out there, and justice needed to be served. The FBI arrived within an hour, led by agents who remembered Rachel's legendary reputation in cybersecurity circles. They found Jeremy Walsh in a motel 20 miles away, his laptop still showing the failed bomb controls. As they led him away in handcuffs, Rachel felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. She'd never wanted her two worlds to collide, but perhaps it was meant to happen this way. Thomas lingered at the diner as dawn broke over Millfield, painting the sky in soft oranges and pinks. The crisis was over, but neither of them seemed ready to say goodbye. Rachel poured him one final cup of coffee, the morning regulars beginning to trickle in for breakfast, completely unaware of the night's drama. "I have a proposition," Thomas said, his voice thoughtful. "My company needs someone with your skills, but I understand why you left. What if we could find a middle ground?" Rachel raised an eyebrow. "What kind of middle ground?" "Remote consulting. Stay here, keep serving coffee, but help us protect people when they really need it. No pressure, no impossible deadlines, just your expertise when it matters most." For the first time in years, Rachel felt excitement about cybersecurity again. "You mean I could keep both lives?" "The best people always have more than one side to them," Thomas smiled. "A waitress who saves lives, a billionaire who learns humility in a roadside diner. Maybe that's exactly what the world needs." As Thomas prepared to leave, he shook Rachel's hand with genuine warmth. "Thank you for reminding me why I got into this business in the first place. It was never about the money or the recognition. It was about protecting people." Rachel watched his Tesla pull away, fully charged and ready for the road ahead. Pete waved from his usual booth, already deep in his morning newspaper. The teenage couple from last night had been replaced by Mrs. Henderson, who always ordered scrambled eggs with wheat toast. Life in Millfield was returning to its gentle rhythm, but Rachel felt different, more complete somehow. She'd learned that running away from your talents didn't make them disappear. They simply waited patiently for the moment when they were needed most. Her two worlds hadn't collided, they'd merged into something beautiful, creating a life where serving coffee and saving lives could coexist in perfect harmony. The morning sun streamed through the diner windows as Rachel tied her apron and prepared for another day. But now she knew that every day held the possibility of making a difference, whether through a perfectly brewed cup of coffee or preventing a disaster that no one would ever know almost happened. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales that celebrate the extraordinary within the ordinary.